Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the class once again. Let us begin with the chapter 20, that is export trade. We have started this chapter and we are on the second session of this chapter. In the first session, I have already told you about what are the things which are there in the syllabus. So in the first lecture, we have done about the meaning of export trade as well as the importance, the purpose of export trade. What is the most important purpose of this export trade? In today's session, we are going to discuss about the export procedure. According to the syllabus which is given in this current session, according to this, in export trade, meaning and objectives and the documents involved in international trade. In this, documents involved in export trade such as letter of credit. It has started from letter of credit, shipping order, shipping bill, mate receipts, bill of lading, certificate of origin, consular invoice, documentary bill of exchange, all that is there in the syllabus. But I am going to start with stage 1. Stage wise I am going to explain you because that is the right way of giving the explanation. And this, you should understand what is the export procedure. So these things, it is, since it is not mentioned, so it will not be asked. And here you have already done also when we were doing home trade. In that you have already done about trade inquiry, sending quotations and all. So we will discuss all these things. We should know that when this document of letter, that is letter of credit, when this document, that is at which stage this document is required. So for that you will have to understand the other stages. So let us first deal with the first stage, that is receiving trade inquiry and sending quotation. Now what is inquiry and what is quotation? Here we are going to study about the export trade. Export trade means the trader is going to sell the commodity in the different countries of the world. So the exporter is going to sell the products. Now here the exporter is going to receive the trade inquiry. Trade inquiry is received by the exporter from the importer. The importers means the buyers, those who want to buy from different countries, they want to inquire, they want to get the information. So here it is, inquiry means to receive the information about the products whatever the exporter is having and the terms and conditions related to that product. So here the exporter is going to receive the trade inquiry from the importer. And in that trade inquiry, what are the necessary informations mentioned? That is, what type of products are available with him and what are the terms and conditions related to the product, the shape, size, color, quality, price, how much quantity that is available, what are the offers which are available with that, terms and conditions related to that, if any relaxation is there related to price, discounts and all these things, insurance facilities and all. So all these information the importer wants to inquire from the exporter. So he sends the inquiry to the exporter and exporter receives the trade inquiry from the importer. Then after receiving the trade inquiry, then the exporter comes to know that what are the informations that are to be sent to the importer. So after getting that inquiry, the exporter sends the quotation, sends the information in the form of quotation to the importer. And in that quotation, what is mentioned? You can see it is mentioned in the book. What is mentioned? All those informations. The design, quality, size, brand name, etc., quantity of goods available, price per unit, terms of shipment, terms of payment through letter of credit or through documents against payment or documents against acceptance, schedule of delivery, the date up to which the offer is valid. All these informations will be contained in the quotation. Means whatever information the exporter is having related to the product, all those information he sends it to the importer. This is the very first step, that importer sends the trade inquiry to the exporter, and then the exporter sends the quotation to the importer. Now the informations that is exchanged. Now the second stage is receiving an indent and sending confirmation. The importer sends the trade inquiry, means he wants to inquire from the exporter. So here the exporter has received. Now exporter has sent the quotation. When the importer will see the quotations, if the importer will be satisfied with the terms and conditions, with the quality, with the price of the products, with the offer available with the products, so the importer is going to give the order to the exporter. So in the second stage, if the importer is satisfied, the importer is going to give the order. And when the importer will give the order to the exporter is going to receive the order. So here receiving an indent means receiving an order. Directly the exporter can receive, or through indent house also they can receive. Here there are different types of indent, that is open indent, closed indent and confirmatory indent. I have not written it over here, it is there in the book. I am not going in much detail because it is not there in the syllabus. So in brief way I am going to explain over here. So here indent, open indent means the importer has given the full liberty and authority to the exporter to decide about the quality, price and all terms and conditions related to the product, how that is going to be sent. In the closed indent, there is no authority given to the exporter. The importer himself decides everything related to that. Over here it is mentioned also, closed indent. In the closed indent, the importer gives full details regarding the quality and price of the goods to be sent. The exporter is not allowed to exercise his discretion in the choice of the goods or in their packing. No authority is given to the exporter. All instructions are given from the importer. Then the third one is confirmatory indent. An indent which is subject to confirmation by the importer or his agent. And it is known as confirmatory indent. Means after deciding everything, the confirmatory indent, that is order is sent to finally to the exporter. So this is about the open indent, closed indent and confirmatory indent. So finally when everything is decided and the importer has inquired everything about that, and when he is satisfied with the terms and conditions of the exporter, then he gives the order to the exporter and the exporter receives the indent in all these conditions. Either it can be open indent, either it can be closed indent or confirmatory indent. Then after that, when the exporter receives the order, then as soon as the exporter receives the order, immediately he sends the confirmation to the importer that yes, the exporter has received the order, and within this time period he is going to just dispatch the goods along with all the terms and conditions. So this is about the receiving an indent, means getting the order and sending the confirmation to the importer. So I think these two stages are absolutely clear to you. Now let us move towards the third stage, that is securing letter of credit. Now what is letter of credit? See, here the goods are exported from one country to the other country. They are not staying in the same country, they cannot meet each other, but they are entering into an agreement, and that should be based on trust. Here the importer's bank, those who are importing, they have to make the payment to the exporter. So here, who is going to take the guarantee? Whether the importer, after receiving the goods, whether he is going to make the payment or not. Or suppose if the importer makes the payment beforehand also. So whether the exporter is going to export the products or not. So these conditions are there, no? So this letter of credit helps in all these things. Here it is given in your book about the letter of credit. The exporter satisfies as to the credit worthiness of the importer. The exporter has to satisfy with the credit worthiness of the importer. A bank reference may be sufficient in some cases. A bank reference may be sufficient in some cases. Generally, the importer is requested to arrange a letter of credit in favor of the exporter. Generally, it is asked that the importer has to arrange the letter of credit in favor of the exporter. So here what is letter of credit? That is an undertaking. It is an undertaking, or you can say it is a promise made by the importer that the importer is going to make the payment on certain date to the exporter. This is an undertaking that is given by the issuer, that is the importer, or through the importer's bank, that the bills of exchange drawn on by the foreign dealer on the importer will be honored on presentation up to a specified amount. It is a guarantee by the bank to the foreign dealer. This letter of credit is the guarantee by the bank to the foreign dealer, mean to the exporter, that his bills up to the amount mentioned therein will be honored. Honored means that it will be paid to that certain date. So I think this is clear to everybody. Letter of credit. Letter of credit. I have already told you, it is written also over here that the exporter satisfies himself as to the credit worthiness of the importer. And generally, the importers, they have to give this letter of credit to the exporter. They have to issue this letter of credit to the exporter. Now, what is contained in the letter of credit? That is an undertaking. That is an undertaking given by the issuer, that is the importer or the importer's bank. And what is mentioned over there? It is mentioned that whatever the bills of exchange, I hope everybody knows about bills of exchange. Whatever the bills of exchange that is drawn on the importer, that is going to be honored by the importer on that particular date. That is a promise that is made by the issuer, that is the importer, to the exporter. And this is a guarantee given by the bank to the foreign dealer. Means it is the guarantee given by the bank on behalf of the importer to the foreign dealer, that is the exporter. And the bank guarantees that the importer is going to make the payment. Bill will be honored means the payment will be made on time. This is about the letter of credit. So I hope you all have understood about these terms, that is the receiving trade inquiry and sending quotation, receiving an indent and sending confirmation, then securing letter of credit. We have different types of letter of credit, that is given over here: clean letter of credit, documentary letter of credit, revocable letter of credit, irrevocable letter of credit, then revolving letter of credit. These are the different types of letter of credit that we have to do. Now let us see what is clean letter of credit. Clean letter of credit means in this type of letter of credit, no conditions are laid down for acceptance and payment of the bill of exchange. For the acceptance and payment of the bill of exchange, there are no conditions applicable. That is called as clean letter of credit. When no conditions are applicable for the acceptance and payment, that will be called as clean letter of credit. Now the second one is documentary letter of credit. Now what is this documentary letter of credit? It lays down the conditions that the documents of title to goods must be sent along with the bills of exchange, without which the bill will not be honored. Documentary letter of credit contains the terms and conditions related to the goods. Documentary letter of credit means that letter of credit contains certain terms and conditions, and if those terms and conditions will not be fulfilled, then the goods will not be delivered. Here it is, you can say that the documents of title to the goods must be sent along with the bills of exchange, without which the bill will not be honored. Means over here, the importer is not going to make the payment until and unless the documents of title to the goods must be sent. It lays down the condition, this letter of credit lays down the condition that the letter of credit must contain this title of goods along with the bills of exchange. And if it will contain, then only the bill will be honored, otherwise the bill will not be honored. This is the condition which is applicable. In the clean letter of credit, this condition was not applicable, but in documentary letter of credit, the title of goods must be carried on along with the bills of exchange. Now, revocable letter of credit and irrevocable letter of credit we are going to discuss in the next turn. And one more, that is revolving letter of credit. All these we are going to do in the next lecture, as well as we will discuss about in the next lecture about how IEC code number, RBI code number that is obtained, and how this forwarding agent is appointed, what are the formalities that is going to be undertaken by the forwarding agent. So all these we are going to do in detail in the next lecture. Thank you very much.